The absolute last thing I want to hear when I'm feeling at rock bottom is, go make yourself proud, you got this. I don't want to hear it. Here's the thing, life's a journey, it's a roller coaster, it has its ups and downs. We know this, but it doesn't make it any easier when you hit a setback. You're just not feeling yourself and it feels like you're never going to get back to that version of you when things were all going smoothly. Listen, I get it, and up until recently, I was in the exact same spot. So what did I do? It is the most annoying thing to hear, but I took action day by day. I literally showed up week in, week out, step by step, hating every single minute of it. Every day literally felt like a push. But there was one thing I kept telling myself through this, and that was, this will pass. Because it will, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. And for me, usually it just lasts a few days of just feeling not myself. A week at most where I'm just in this slump. But this most recent time, it was literally months, if not over a year, of me just not feeling like myself. So I knew I had to do something because I was not loving where I was headed. I'm gonna talk a lot on my fitness journey and my injury recovery journey because I feel like while that is a specific situation, it is applicable to so many other situations. Maybe you're not going through a fitness journey right now. Maybe this is you as a content creator, you being a personal brand that's trying to show up in the online space. Whatever it is, I feel like this whole concept and this mindset shift, I feel like it can just apply to various situations. So take what you would like to from this video, but I hope it helps someone out there. So let's break it down. Let's start with our circumstances. Listen, we can't change our circumstances or what has happened. For me, it's lingering issues and injuries that are causing other problems in other areas of my life. I'm waking up in chronic pain. I'm not able to do a lot of the things I used to be able to do, and that comes with a grieving process. It played with my mental health for a really long time. It impacted how I was showing up for myself, for my audience, and for my day-to-day life, and that's when I knew something had to change. Because this wasn't it. This isn't working. It's just been this whole loss of identity, a whole grieving process that I really did not expect to need to go through. Now, your circumstances might be different, but the thing about circumstances are that we cannot change them. The only thing that we can do is change how we respond to them. And the first place I like to start is giving myself grace. Easier said than done, I admit. I had to just cut myself some slack. I am a human going through a very human experience. It was painful and sad and a real loss for me. But I also had to draw the line and not allow that to be the reason that I completely spiraled. And you know what? I kind of did spiral there for a while. Kind of hit my rock bottom. I knew if I wanted to change, I had to change something. So I became resourceful. I couldn't do the things that I used to be able to do, but what could I do was the question I asked. I started to go to work at figuring out what are the things that I could do to make myself feel empowered each and every day. Just one thing. Start small. And let's be honest, some days that was just getting out of bed, taking a shower, and making the bed. And for me, that was a big win. Giving yourself grace, becoming resourceful, and then starting to take action. And as they say, the first step is always the hardest, and that was very true for me in this situation. And after weeks and months of spiraling to my rock bottom, taking that first step was so incredibly hard. But you know what? I took it. And I had to make the decision every single day to take it again, to continue taking it. It didn't just happen. It didn't just become easy because I took it once. I had to make the decision every single day that today I'm going to take the next step. And over time, I won't say each day, but over time it got easier and easier. For example, I couldn't lift weights like I used to. So I went back to body exercises and I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it, and I will drill that home because taking the action doesn't always feel fun and sexy and like I'm kicking ass. It can feel like, oh my god, this sucks. This sucks. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? This feels pointless. That's what that first step can feel like. And when you embrace that, that first step might feel not good, and it's supposed to not feel good, and that's okay if it doesn't feel good, but we show up anyway because this is how we get to where we want to be. That's when the shifts start to happen. Like, it's okay to have not good feeling. I'm trying to work myself into a place where I'm welcoming all emotions of the human experience. And that means allowing myself to feel the negative emotions, the sadness, the frustration, the grief, the hardship, all those kind of things are okay to feel. And so many times we go to work to try to avoid feeling that way. So we do the things, we chase the instant gratification. We chase the dopamine hits and the scroll or the emotional eating or whatever it is. Like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but you know what I mean. Like, so often we are avoiding feeling those negative emotions. And when we try to avoid the emotions that don't feel as good, we can prevent ourselves from actually moving forward or making any progress or working towards growth. Oh, this is so annoying. Like, I allowed myself to have those thoughts while I was doing my workouts, while I was doing my little body weights that felt like I wasn't doing anything and it felt like I wasn't getting a real workout in. I allowed myself to feel the negative emotions and work through them. I just kept doing it. I would start my workout and I would finish my workout. I would always feel better after I finished the task at hand, but through it just was, I just had to do the next rep, do the next exercise, get to the next part. Just little by little by little, I just had to get to the next part, and then before I knew it, I was done my workout. And I just had to work through those little moments every single day consistently, and then do it all again and do it all again and do it all again. And most people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to show up through the yucky parts, the icky parts that don't feel good and fun. There were days when I had to really ask myself, when I was having those thoughts, what is the other option here? I give up, I quit on myself and my health and my wellness and my mental health. I just give up and let it continue to spiral into a place where I know I don't want to be. Like, what is the other option here if we're not going to fight for this? What is the other option? And I had to sit with that. This is my health. This is my happiness. This is my future. This is me I'm fighting for. This is my mental health I'm fighting for. So I ask you, what are you fighting for? Why is it important for you to show up for this? And what is the other option there if you don't? Is it worth showing up even if it sucks for the first couple of weeks or months? What actions can you start taking to help move the needle closer to where you want to be? Once I built the foundation of taking action, I had to rebuild my consistency muscle, because it is a muscle. Just like going to the gym, you have to really work at your muscles so that they can build over time. Then if you take some time off of the gym, you need to rebuild that muscle strength. And usually it bounces back pretty quick if you have the muscle memory there. But it's the same thing with this, with your mindset. And that was one of the hardest parts for me, rebuilding my consistency. And this came with a real hit to my ego, because I was the consistency girl. I was the one that had no problem getting in the gym or moving my body. I loved it. I thrived on it. It was part of my identity. Even as a creator, I used to get compliments all the time on how consistent I was on social media. How do you do it? How do you show up the way you do? So when I was no longer showing up in that way, I felt so lost. I felt like I didn't know who I was. It was so hard, all of it. It felt like overnight I had gone from this strong, fit, and capable person to a literal potato. But I had to come to the realization that it did not happen overnight. It happened with time and consistency, doing the wrong things that were leading me away from where I wanted to be. And I had to accept and embrace the fact that it was going to take time, and probably more time than I wanted it to take, for me to get back to where I wanted to be and to feel any sense of normal again. And then I had to ask myself, am I willing to stick it out and show up until I get back to that consistent version of myself? And the answer was yes, because I was sick of my own shit. Another thing I had to do was redefine what consistency meant for me. I feel like so many of us get this wrong. Consistency does not equal perfect. It does not equal every single day. And I had to let go of that comparison. I had to realize that I wasn't actually trying to get back to the Jamie before this injury. I was trying to create a new version of me that has learned to live and navigate and thrive despite my injury. I had to realize that that meant showing up for myself in whatever capacity that looked like for that week. And it varied. I had to embrace the fact that that was not only good enough, but it was exactly where I needed to be in this point of my journey. I had to redefine what consistency meant. And for me, it no longer meant showing up exactly the same way every single day. It just meant I showed up. Today I showed up, and tomorrow I showed up. The capacity in which I showed up varied based on what I was capable of doing. but I showed up, and that's what I focused on the consistency on. You show up and you put your best foot forward. You get to redefine what consistency means for you. And for me, that is the most freeing thing ever, because you no longer have to use someone else's definition of what that means, which means you no longer have to fit yourself inside a box and say, I have to do this. I have to upload 3 times a week. I have to move my body 5 times a week. You get to decide. It might take time for you to feel okay with your consistency looking different now, but the sooner you start to embrace that and thrive from it, it's a whole other playing field. Next, I created evidence in my life. I feel like doing this is so underrated. This was hard at first because my mindset was in a really rough place. I wasn't consistent for so long that I really was doubting myself and doubting if I could even do it. I thought, oh, I'll only be able to stick to it for like a week or 2 before I, mess it up. Because up until that point, for months and months and months leading up to that, that's who I was. I was not being consistent with anything. I was going weeks without doing anything good for my mental or physical health. So I went to work at creating evidence in my life that I was someone who showed up to do the things that I told myself I was going to do. I had to create this evidence in my life. And if you are someone that's like doubting yourself, doubting your capabilities, you need to go to work at creating the evidence in your life so that your brain will accept it as fact. Because think of it, all your brain has up until this point is evidence that you're not consistent, you don't show up for yourself, you say things and you don't follow through. If that's the only evidence that you've built up until this point, your brain's gonna be like, okay, Jamie, yeah, okay, girl, yeah, you're not gonna do that. And then you're gonna be like, yeah, you're right, I'm not gonna do that. If you're starting to create the evidence, your brain won't be able to continue disputing the things that you're saying because they are factual, because you have all this evidence built up. Like, I've done this, and this, so of course I'm gonna do that. And it's no longer going to be feeding you these thoughts like, oh yeah, right, doubt it. Like, it's no longer, those things are going to become less and less a part of who you are. The most empowering thing to know is that you get to decide what kind of evidence you are going to create in your life. Your brain will follow, and the more you do it, the stronger that belief will get. And then your brain will just wake up one day and there won't be a doubt in your mind whether or not you're going to show up, because that's just what you do. Go ahead and pick the evidence that you want to be true. I am someone who uploads videos 2 times a month. I am someone who goes for a walk 3 times a week. I am someone who follows through on the things she says she's going to follow through on. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be so specific like I am someone who posts 2 times a month, but it can be just I am someone who follows through on the things I say I'm going to do. That can be as simple as it gets. I am someone who moves my body in ways that feels good. That doesn't mean you have to be in the gym. That means you can go for a walk, you can do stretching, you can do yoga. Like, you get to decide. That's the most empowering, freeing thing ever. You get to decide. I use these like smaller numbers, like uploading twice a month, because if you are struggling right now with consistency in an area, starting small is going to be your best friend, because that's the quickest way to build the evidence. If you just say, I'm gonna record 1 video a month, that to me is, for me specifically, that would be a no-brainer. Definitely could get that done. I got 30 days in the month. I can definitely sit down and smash out a video in an hour of that month. And so for me, that would be cool. Let's start with once a month, every single month. And then I can up that number. But I always say start stupid small, because it allows you to build the consistency muscle. When you're on a journey like this, you want to create as little amount of resistance as possible. So I always say start stupid small. And I say stupid small because it's going to feel like so dumb. Like, oh, that's nothing. That's what it should feel like, because you're definitely going to be able to do it. And that's where you need to start. Like, start stupid small, no-brainer kind of like goals, so you can start building that muscle. I'm telling you, this has been so helpful for me. It's not the only trick out there, but it definitely has worked for me in the past. I feel like people struggle with this so much because we want to like, okay, I need to get back on track, so I'm going to go to the gym 6 times a week. I'm going to post 3 times a week. I'm going to do this. And you set the bar too high, and then you burn out too quickly, and it's not sustainable. So that's why I say, like, pick something really, really small and stick to it for 6 months. And if you could do that, then that's when you know that, okay, I'm in a good flow here. Let's increase it. Let's make it a little bigger. And then do that for another 6 months or 3 months or whatever feels good for you. When you feel like you've really made it a habit, then it's okay. It's time to increase things. But starting so small can feel like boring, not fun, like, oh, that's it. Like, it can feel like it's you're not getting the dopamine hit. You're not doing all this action. You're starting small, and so we're so used to chasing that instant gratification, that dopamine hit, that we're not willing to just like, okay, let's reel it right back. Let's strip it right down to the basics. There's so much power in allowing yourself to do that and build those foundations back up. And if you are at a rock bottom, sometimes you really do need to strip things right back down to day one and just allow yourself to start fresh. And allowing that to be okay. Not making it mean anything about you, like, oh, I'm so lazy, oh, this is so lame, oh, I'm not strong, oh, I'm not this, oh, I'm not that. You don't have to make it mean anything about you except for the fact that you're building your foundation back up. That's the only thing that's actually true here. Forget what everyone else is doing around you. This is your journey. And accountability is everything on this journey. I personally don't rely on another person for accountability. That's just my personal choice. I make my own. I use my Instagram stories for accountability. No one knows about it. People just see me posting. They don't know it's for my accountability. I'm just doing my thing. But my Instagram page, my personal Instagram page, is basically an accountability page. I post a picture of me on my morning walk, take a little selfie, take a little video of my feet walking, take a picture of the view, post it on there, and that's my little accountability for the day. Post my healthy smoothie. Like, I don't even have to say, like, this is my accountability. Oh, keeping myself accountable. I don't say that. I don't say that. No one has to know. This is between me and me, okay? Today I posted a picture of me filming, like, we filming, we're doing the thing, we're showing up, we're recording videos, we are doing the content creator thing. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but it really works for me. It helps me like stay on track. I'm showing up for myself, and I get to see that in my stories and my posts, posting a little pic of the dinner I cooked. Like, I don't know, it works for me. Maybe I'm weird. I also love to print out blank printable calendars. I have some on my wall right here, and I can just scratch off the day. I like being able to tick things off, scratch things off, and I have different versions of this, but like having one of these calendars, it's just that physical, good job, Jamie, you did things. I love seeing things visually, so I get to see the whole month of October crossed off, knowing that that is a visual representation of how I've showed up for myself. And I just love that. It just gives me all the good feels. So like, if you're trying to get those dopamine hits, like, do it in a way that's going to be constructive towards where you want to be in life. Let's use it in our favor instead of using it against us and using it to spiral into rock bottom. You can have someone else on the same journey, be your accountability partner, but I find that I just do better when I find external sources of accountability instead of putting it into another person's hands. You have to know yourself well enough to know the systems that you need to put in place to help support you working towards these goals and support the version of you that you want to be. If you feel like you're at rock bottom or you hit a setback in your life, I want you to know that it's okay. I know it's rough, I know it doesn't feel good, but I also know that this is temporary. And I can't tell you how long it will or won't last, but I can tell you that the only person that is going to get you to the other side of this is the person watching this video right now. You are more worthy and capable than you know, and you absolutely got this. Start small, give yourself grace, stay accountable, and take it one day at a time. I am here and I am rooting for you. If you did find this helpful, let me know by hitting the like button, and it helps support this page, so I would appreciate it. Drop me some love below and share your story, because I would love to hear where you are and what you're currently struggling with, because it's always good to not feel like you're alone in this. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning in to another video soon. Bye!